In a development that shocks absolutely no one, Facebook says it will no longer remove posts claiming that COVID is man-made. Are you telling me that for an entire year, Facebook was literally spreading medical misinformation and lies, saying that there was no way that COVID had leaked from a lab in China? That's exactly what we're saying. And in other news, Biden is announcing a $6 trillion spending bill and budget. Folks, this is the highest level since World War II. Why our economy is going to collapse. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, and today we need to talk about Facebook, Biden, and rising gas prices because, folks, the economy is going to be in shambles. We're going to talk about all of this and more, but before we do, remember to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for updates on future content. And of course, if you like this video, you like the work I do, remember to share this video online. But we're going to talk more about that, folks. For now, a quick word from our sponsor. Introducing the Tower Lords. Starting with the book I, Overlord. It's about a man named Jerry who gets isekai'd, pulled from the earth, into a dark, dangerous, magical world as different nations fight for power. In this series, the basic premise is that Jerry and other abductees who were stolen from Earth have to figure out how to survive without being murdered by this world's vicious inhabitants. And if you're interested in sci-fi content, check out the author's YouTube channel, Retro Spectator. Get your copy today by clicking on the link down below. And we're back. In the following screenshot you can see, Facebook ends ban on posts claiming that COVID-19 is man-made, from Thomas Barabee from Fox Business. Facebook said Wednesday it would no longer ban posts suggesting that COVID-19 is man-made amid mounting calls from President Biden and other officials for further investigation into the pandemic's origins. Isn't that amazing? Now, I wanted to talk about this to point out that, in other words, Facebook was banning people for even suggesting that a lab leak could have been what caused COVID. You know, people messing around, scientists messing around with dangerous viruses, coronaviruses. An accident happens. There's a breach. The virus gets out of the lab, and then it spreads. This is a very well-known theory, and only now, 1 year later, is it being taken seriously. I said 1 year ago, at the very start of COVID, there are signs that this may have been a leak. There's the Wuhan lab in Wuhan. The virus came from Wuhan. It's a coronavirus. They're studying coronavirus at the lab. Oh, let me use my brain. Oh, I think it's possible that the virus came from the lab. I'm a genius. And it's just, it drives me insane. It drives me insane. Here is the official statement from Facebook, and this is how we're going to close this off. Quote, in light of ongoing investigations into the origin of COVID-19 and in consultation with public health experts, we will no longer remove the claim that COVID-19 is man-made from our apps, a Facebook spokesperson said in the emailed statement. We're continuing to work with health experts to keep pace with the evolving nature of the pandemic, blah, 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 blah. Basically, they're admitting that for an entire year, they were spreading medical and scientific misinformation. In my opinion, Facebook should be sued because it should have never taken down those posts in the first place. Who in the ever-living frick thought that Facebook had a right to determine what was and wasn't medical and scientific truth? If you ask me, Facebook should be sued to the ground. It's just sheer incompetence. It's sheer 1984. They should not be censoring information, controlling the truth. People like me were right all along. That is why big tech is such a joke. They lied to you for an entire year. Speaking of liars, we're going to talk about Biden and his $6 trillion budget. It's got a lot of people scared. We are already looking down the barrel of some of the largest inflation, hyperinflation, and stock market crash and collapse that we've seen in many, many years. So Biden's proposed $6 trillion budget would literally increase spending to its highest level since World War II. It really shows you how incompetent Democrats are. Well, we're just going to print more money and then everybody will be rich. This worked for Zimbabwe. Yeah, the only thing that printing all this money is going to do is further the economic hyperinflation and collapse. So let's read. President Biden is set to propose a budget totaling $6 trillion in the coming days. The New York Times reported early Tuesday, about a third higher than pre-pandemic spending levels. We're not even at war, and this is what they want to do. The proposal would contain major investments in infrastructure, education, and healthcare. In other words, more handouts. Yeah, neither of these, except maybe infrastructure, actually contribute to the economy. It's a complicated issue. Point is, under the plan, the federal government would spend $6 trillion in the 2022 fiscal year. Not only that, spending would increase to $8.2 trillion by the end of 2031. The plan demonstrates that Biden shows little interest in taming the deficit, which is larger than $1 trillion. So it's never been this bad since the Great Depression and after COVID-19. So they're literally trying to make America's domestic debt burden 117% of the GDP. We'll have more debt than we even make money. Now, Biden released a speech saying that the pandemic made things worse and 20 million Americans lost their jobs and blah, blah, blah. You know, never mind the fact that it was Biden that made everybody lose their jobs. Listen here, fat. We're gonna lock down the country. Come on, man. This plan is absolutely ludicrous. You know, Biden is saying the same old Democratic talking points. Trickle-down economics doesn't work. We're gonna grow the economy from the bottom up. I think what they really mean is that they're going to absolutely destroy the American economy. They're going to give money to climate change and electric vehicles and social safety nets. Dude, this is all stuff that is inflationary. Here on CNN, Larry Summers sends a stark inflation warning to Joe Biden. Larry Summers is urging Washington to tap the brakes on stimulus or risk unleashing a serious burst of inflation. The former Clinton and Obama official took issue with how the Federal Reserve and fiscal powers continue to turbocharge the economy, even though the once real risk of catastrophic spiral has since faded. She goes on to explain that prices have risen sharply in everything from used cars to lumber to steel and food. The return of inflation is especially costly to low-income families. Basically, she's saying that Biden's stances are all inflationary. Summers said that while he supports Biden's efforts to raise the minimum wage, step up regulation, and boost unions, he warned that these policies can be inflationary. Folks, there's a reason that people say that Democrats are completely incompetent, because all of their policies are inflationary and destroy the economy. That is why California is broke. That is why everywhere run by Democrats turns into garbage. It just does. Poverty, crime, high taxes, high cost of living. And this brings us to a bigger point that all Americans are going to feel. Here on the Daily Mail, gas prices hit a 7-year high ahead of Memorial Day. Trump says that Russia and the Middle East are making a fortune, while 34 million Americans face misery at the pumps. I think he put out like a post that said, shame, shame, shame. But happy Memorial Day anyways. Man, I miss that guy. He needs to be put back on Twitter and Facebook. We need Donald Trump and his shit posts. He's a legend. But what more can he say? He's no longer president in what was a very controversial election, and it's unfortunate. Here the article says, gas prices across the U.S. have now hit a 7-year high, and 34 million drivers are expected to travel the holiday face a steep bill at the pumps. Yeah, so summer is basically here, it's coming, and gas prices are only going to get higher as more and more people travel. For some reason, people really love the summer. Everyone wants to do stuff when it's warm. I don't get it. I hate the heat. But there you go. This is what Trump said. Quote, remember, as you're watching the meter tick and your dollars pile up, how great of a job Donald Trump did as president, Trump said. Soon Russia and the Middle East will be making a fortune on oil, and you'll be saying how good it was to have me as your president, Donald Trump. You should be in jail. I love this guy. I absolutely love Donald Trump. I mean, he's right. What can the Democrats and the liberals and the left say? Oh, well, Biden, at least he doesn't make mean tweets. It doesn't matter that the economy is in shambles, that gas prices are up, and that a bunch of people lost their jobs and are going to lose their jobs because of Democratic policies. No, your average Democrat and your average liberal is so brainwashed. So brainwashed by the media and by the system that they'll look at the consequences of a Biden presidency and then they'll say, well, this is the Republicans' fault. It was that big bad orange man. No, Biden is president. It is your fault. It is the Democrats' fault. That is why gas prices are up, because Biden, they shut down the pipeline. They're getting their oil from other countries. We are losing our energy independence, all because of climate change. Oh, the planet. Oh, the planet. The planet has been around longer than any of us. Most of these people know nothing about science. They know nothing about the climate. I just get really annoyed by this. But that, my friends, is pretty much the story. The average price of gas right now is $3.04, $3.04. It's only going to get worse. I hope you're ready to buy a $5 gas, okay? Might be a good time to stock up. Not advice, just a thought. Here in the comment section, Righteous Mastermind says, Joe Biden made sure gas prices went up as soon as he took office. This was all by design. Chunk Bro says, anyone missing Trump yet? And here's a perfect comment to leave the story. Chuck Bro says, Biden kills fossil fuels by shutting down the Keystone Pipeline, while giving the okay for Russia to go ahead with their Ukraine pipeline. Whose side is the president houseplant working for these days? I think we all know the answer, folks. Biden is certainly not working for the American people. But that, my friends, is merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. As always, as this channel is not monetized, you can support the channel by joining me on Patreon or Subscribestar. Your contributions are vastly appreciated, and they're basically the only thing keeping this operation afloat. If you want to see more content, if you want to support work that you believe in, join me today. Not only that, joining will give you access to a private Discord server. It's the only way to get in. We do this for multiple reasons, to keep out the trolls and whatnot. So, join today. Check out the link down below in the description. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, evening, morning, wherever you may be, and I'll see you all next time.
Barack and I think it's a right for people to have bad health care. For people to have bad health care. For people to have bad health care.
Over there, that creek, man, I found a couple of soaps on the arrowhead.